You and I have both experienced that pain. You strive for your justice, and I strive for mine.
And what's going on, Read My Lips people? We are back. Back like we ain't never left, baby. So, oh boy. Oh boy. Handsy Uncle Joe Biden. Handsy Uncle Joe. So, Joe Biden says, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. You know, I was wondering if I was black this whole time, and you just helped so many African Americans figure out what their race is by letting us know today, being interviewed by Charlemagne the God. So there's so many layers to this. There's so many layers, and I'm going to try to hit on every single one of them for you here today, ladies and gentlemen. So, first of all, let's start with Charlemagne the God. So, it was super weird that he's getting interviewed by Charlemagne the God. Now, Joe Biden being on the Breakfast Club, still cringy, but it's different. Like, okay, the Breakfast Club gets tons of views, tons of listens, and, you know, if it's political strategy to get on there and talk your talk, fine. And he'd be, you know, with Angela Yee and DJ Envy and whatever. It's like one of their pit stops. But he's here getting interviewed by Charlemagne the God. Now, I don't know why Charlemagne the God is interviewing Joe Biden. Charlemagne the God doesn't care about politics. Charlemagne the God is apolitical. He gives no shits about politics. And he was being interviewed, and he's like, I just want to see what Joe Biden's going to do, you know, for me and for the rest of African Americans and blah, blah, blah. Look, it's on record, Charlemagne, that though you don't vote based off policy. These are your own words. You vote based on what's the more socially acceptable woke vote. This is what you said. This is you. You said this. So if it's a man and a woman running, you're going to vote for the woman. If it's two women running, you're going to vote for the one that's of color.
You say you support Hillary Clinton just because she's a woman?
Absolutely. See, listen, I love novelty in my presidents. You know what I'm saying? The first time I ever voted was for Barack Obama. And, you know, I voted for him because he was a black man who seemed like he was speaking to me and my generation. And, you know, 2016, I'm going to do the same thing for Hillary because I like Bill and she supports Barack and she's a woman. Like, I can't go back to just the plain white president.
So you'll vote for the first gay president?
Absolutely.
Like, that's just how you roll. You don't care about policy. You've never cared about anything with substance when it came to the political sphere. These are your words, not mine. Okay? So, like, it's already cringe that you're interviewing Joe Biden and pretending to care about policy and what he's going to do for the African American community. And I'm not saying you don't care about the African American community. You yourself do a lot for the African American community, and you're probably knee deep in stuff that pertains to blacks. But as far as on a political realm, you said you don't care, especially when it comes to voting. This is by your words. Maybe you've had an enlightenment. Maybe you now care about how things work in the political system. But I ask you this, where were you during the primary? You weren't going too hard in them. Yes, people got interviews on the Breakfast Club, but it didn't seem like you were strongly supporting the Sanders movement or the Yang movement. And so it's already cringe that it's Joe Biden, it's handsy Uncle Joe Biden, and I don't care about policy, Charlemagne the God. That's already cringe. But then you have this interview, and then Joe Biden feels comfortable enough. He feels comfortable enough. He's yuck. He's jokey enough to put out, if you ain't voting for me, you ain't black. Joe Biden, you're not invited to the cookout. Why do you feel comfortable enough? some people are saying it was in jest. He was joking. Calm down. He's not a comedian. He's not funny. He's got current rape allegations against him. He's never done anything. This is equivalent to the Hillary Clinton hot sauce fiasco. Like when Hillary Clinton pulled hot sauce out of her pocketbook and was like, black people, This is Joe Biden like, if you ain't vote for me, you ain't black enough. Come on, listen, bro. You don't get that pass. We didn't give you that pass. We didn't hold the secret black meeting and be like, Joe Biden, Joe, are we doing Joe? Yeah, you didn't. Nope, you weren't invited to the meeting. I don't care what Charlemagne has to say. And the fact that he didn't hold him to the fire during that. Afterwards, he was like, because I was just trying to see what he's going to do about blacks and stuff like that.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community.
Out front now, Charlemagne the God, who you just saw there interviewing Biden on his radio show, The Breakfast Club. And Charlemagne, it's good to be with you. Hopefully in person at some point. Obviously not this time, but look, I want to play more of your exchange because it was a lengthy exchange and there was a lot of substance in there. But obviously it is that moment which has gotten, so much attention here. What was your initial reaction when you heard Biden say, quote, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black?
My initial reaction was exactly what I said. That's what my focus was. It's not about Trump. It's about who is going to present the best deal for black people, who is going to have an economic justice plan for black people, who is.
Very cringe, and I'm shocked he felt comfortable enough to say that. And look, there's going to be a lot of people are already doing mental gymnastics to give him a pass. People are doing mental gymnastics right now to give Joe Biden a pass on this. But, Joey, you don't get a pass. If Donald Trump came out and saying, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, or you ain't black enough, or something along those lines, they would roast him endlessly, nonstop for at least 3 or 4 days. At least. So, Joe Biden, it's your turn. It's your turn. I'm not going to do the mental gymnastics to give you a pass. I'm not taking it out of context. You were trying to be jokey, and you failed. You don't do well in that area, Joe Biden. You're not a jokey kind of guy. I'm not Corn Pop, okay? You're not a jokey kind of guy. And look, African Americans voted for you in droves, so you probably feel comfortable. You probably feel really comfortable. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to get their vote. Of course they're going to vote for me. But let's just be clear. You haven't done a goddamn thing for us. Nothing. And now, during this time, you're going to pretend to come up with all these policies you're going to do for us. You're going to come up with all these programs. You're going to pretend because you want that vote. But at the end of the day, you're going to continue to step on our neck economically and pander to us socially. And nothing's going to change. See, the time to hold Joe Biden accountable, the time to hold all the politicians accountable was during the primary. That's when blacks had the power. That's when you make your demands. You don't wait till the general election is a stone's throw away to say, all right, which one of you guys are going to do something for blacks? It's Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Are you serious? I got your answer. Nothing. Neither of them are going to do nothing, anything. You're wasting your time. You're talking to the wind. You're wasting your breath. The time was during the primary when you actually had candidates that cared. Andrew Yang would never had been on any podcast talking about, yeah, if you don't vote for Yang, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Like, can you imagine? Could you imagine if Bernie Sanders said that? All I know is if you ain't voting Bernie, you ain't black. That's not it. You ain't it, Jack. Like, no. And anybody trying to give him a pass, you're with the bullshit. It's probably just anti-Trump. You're as anti-Trump as it is. And so you're going to deflect and block anything that can get in the way of a Trump re-election, but you're not being realistic. This was a fuck up. And just embrace it, and you can try to move on from it, but we're not going to pretend this wasn't a fuck up. And then I think Trump retweeted it. Already, there's shirts out saying hashtag you ain't black. What? They wasted no time. They got their shirts out before I can get a video out. They wasted no time. You can't, when I tell you, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. As I was saying in the last video. You can't make this stuff up. So yeah, that's been trending on Twitter. And Joe Biden, whenever you open your mouth, you screw up. Eric Trump was actually right about something. You do well when you're sitting in a basement being quiet. But when you're in the public eye and you're speaking, you continuously screw up. Which is why you won't do well on a stage against a Donald Trump. Oh, man. Yikes. Yikes. So no, if you're wondering, no, Read My Lips doesn't give him a pass. He gets no pass. Call it a gaffe. Call it what you want. He was trying to pander and trying to be jokey joke. But it was an epic fail. Because you're not embraced like that. I don't know why blacks voted for you in droves. Because somebody else told them to. I don't know why they voted for you in droves the way that they did. It was very sheepish. But here we are. And you're screwing up. You're screwing up already. You're not Obama, son. You're not Obama. Stop trying to be cool. Stop trying to be smooth. You are not. Doing videos with Keegan. Real cool, bro. But that's not where else Biden has screwed up. All right? So I've been saying in a couple videos, and the last one I said it was in a video with Paget. I had it was like a 2.5 hour interview. I want to say it was like 2.5 hours. Paget interviewed me, and one of the things we talked about was who's going to be Biden's VP. And do you know who I said? I said it's probably going to be Amy Klobuchar. And guess what came out yesterday? Biden asks Amy Klobuchar to undergo vetting as possible running mate. He definitely had his eyes on a Klobuchar to be his running mate. And it would get all the Karens in the world to vote for her, to vote for a Biden, who the people who don't care, again, sort of similar to Charlemagne the God, some of the people who don't care about policy and only want to do the most socially woke thing, which would be to get a woman president or a woman VP in there, that are going to vote for Amy Klobuchar, are just, I mean, they're both centrist Democrats, so it's not like their policies are that vastly different. But I knew that's what he was thinking. He already said he'd rather get an African-American woman in the Supreme Court, which was clearing his path for a VP. But I'll get into it just a little bit. So Senator Amy Klobuchar has been asked by Joe Biden to undergo a formal vetting to be considered as his vice president running mate, one of several potential contenders now being scrutinized by his aides ahead of a final decision. When Biden was pressed on Klobuchar's chances of making his running mate shortlist, Biden responded positively, Amy's first rate, don't get me wrong. Now, it's not just Klobuchar. I think he's got several people on that list of people being considered. One of them has bowed out, and that was Senator Jeanne Shaheen. That's kind of a dope name. Mean Jeanne Shaheen. Okay.
In short time, I'm going to show you real quick, Mean Jeanne.
Which was a Democrat of New Hampshire. and she's running for re-election next year. Biden committed during a March primary debate to pick a woman as his running mate, and has previously said the list of women is going to be around a dozen, which is, with Biden's record with women, it's also really weird. It's weird that he, I'm going to pick a woman. It's just weird. But anyways, the point of this was Amy Klobuchar's in that mix, and the person that I was saying it's going to be is probably Amy Klobuchar. Now, a lot of people were thinking Kamala Harris. Now, there's several prominent African-American leaders close to Biden, and they're pushing for Kamala Harris and Stacey Abrams. And, I mean, they're literally just doing that because they're black women. Nothing to do with policy, nothing to do with that that's the best person for their job. Literally, it's the fluff. I don't think he's going to pick them. I really don't. I don't see Kamala Harris or Stacey Abrams sealing the votes, the kind of votes that he needs, while admittedly a Klobuchar will get him some votes. Biden has also said he expects the vetting process to be completed by July, and appears to be taking advice from a man who once tapped him for the number 2 role, Barack Obama. So, quite interesting. He would pick a Karen for his VP. I'm not surprised. Again, I'd say I called it. We'll see what happens. But Joe, you gaffed. You gaffed big, and the Trump campaign is going to hammer you on that. But listen, the Trump campaign is doing a lot of shady stuff underneath, or behind the shadows, should I say. Like, especially with dealing with this COVID and getting people back out there. It's just, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and like, we get distracted so very easily, and then they slip so much stuff underneath our eyes, and we don't even realize it. So, you goofed, and that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Did Joe Biden screw up bad? Like, is he going to get past this hump, or is this going to get hammered on to the point where he's donezo? Look, the African American community can be incredibly giving, or they can be incredibly vicious. So if you really screw up, like if they're done with you, they're done with you, and you'll be memed to death, and they're gonna talk shit to death, and you're out of here. You're out of here. I don't know what side of the aisle you're on. It's too early to say. But Twitter's talking about it. Social media's talking about it. And I think Biden's come out with an apology already. He came out with an apology. We'll see what happens. But like I said again, for the 4th time, you done goofed. So, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If you don't, let me know in the comment section why. I'm always down to talk about it. I have a Cash App, a PayPal, and a Venmo link in the description below. Please feel free to donate to the channel. Every little bit helps. Hopefully, I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.